Okay, we're live, folks.
Good evening, folks. I'd like to call this meeting to order for the Prescott BIA, February 9th, 2021. We're just going to boogie right along into stuff because I got a feeling there's some topics that might slow us down a little bit. Everyone's seen the agenda, and I know Matthew sent out an agenda with some details on it because he won't be here this evening. We can get a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll motion.
Motion made by Karen, second by
Earl?
Pearl. All in favor? Motion carried. Any declarations of interest? We'll go with none. No delegations or presentations? Nope. Minutes from the previous meeting. Again, they were emailed out. Hopefully everyone had a chance to go over them. If we're all good with that, we can get a motion to approve the previous minutes. Motion made by Tracy, second by
I'll second.
Aaron. All in favor? Motion carried. All right, we're gonna jump right into it. 6-1. We all talked last time about some new directors, Belinda Campbell and Jean Dibble. I have acceptance from both to be on the board. I spoke with them just the other day. That being said, that will lead to having to go to council for consideration and approval. So if we can get a motion for nominations to be forwarded to council.
I'll motion that the nominations for Belinda Campbell and Jeannie Dibble be forwarded to council for consideration.
All right, second by?
I'll second it.
Second by Pearl. All in favor? Motion carried. Next, one of our big fun topics, we got into it last time for a few minutes, discussion on the coordinator position. Last time I know we discussed the possibilities of doing it kind of on a project basis. I know Dana sent out the positions and duties we came up with last time for the full-time position. Did anybody have a chance to go back through those?
Yeah, I did.
You guys went through them. Was there was, I know there was a few things I know I crossed off, but maybe, I don't know what your opinion, I'll maybe ask Dana what your opinion might be, but I see a lot of things on there that I don't think would disappear from what responsibilities would be, whether it was full-time or not.
Yeah. I was wondering with the position, is it something that we would be able to, does it have to be project based, or would we be able to, let's say, assign 10 hours a week, like the BIA could pay, hire him for him or her for 10 hours a week?
To do more just like day-to-day admin related tasks.
Well, that's,
like, I guess what we're really trying to encourage or just stress is the fact that there is limited time, right?
Yeah.
Is that you may only have 10 hours a week, and that's why our approach was more of a project based. Maybe you wanted to identify some, and not even necessarily projects, but just some key tasks that you want this individual to be focusing their 10 hours this week on. Some of it might be more admin related, like your social media, general upkeep and administration of those pages and promoting and sharing. Those are kind of weekly things that you may want them to spend, say, an hour doing, a few minutes a day here and there. And then there's other ones, that could vary week to week, depending on the time of year. Maybe you've got some seasonal things, events, promotions that you'd like to run. But it's really just kind of laying out exactly how you want them to be spending those 10 hours. And then we can look at it and try to establish, a time to complete with those tasks and get a sense of whether that 10 hours is going to accommodate the need. But it doesn't necessarily need to be a special project,
Mhm.
just kind of those key tasks that you want them to be focused on, while knowing they're not going to have, 20 to 30 hours a week to really give you that full coordinator benefit that you would normally get. So you may have to pick and choose here and there. And then some board members may have to still kind of participate with providing some of that ongoing admin support, right? It can't all fall to a coordinator who's only got 10 hours a week.
Right.
Yeah. I was thinking it was important to have somebody maintain our social media. Somebody to keep our website up to date.
Yep.
Marketing and promotions, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and those are all great examples of tasks that you would, for example, I know the BIA website business directory is in dire need of updating. I've kind of gone through and removed any of the businesses that are closed or relocated or have made some significant changes, but there's, some new ones that need to be added, and just some, additional information that would be great to get up as part of those business listings.
Yeah.
Updated photos. There's some pretty dated images on there.
As far as like organizing meetings go, they're probably not necessarily needed for that, though. It helps if there's certain topics we don't know about. But we want to short list some responsibilities, because I see, according to Matthew, the position is going to be brought forward to council on the 16th. So we should probably short list a bunch of responsibilities so that can go along. Also, just curiosity, Dana, Matthew's got the one thing here: BIA will reimburse the town for hours spent on BIA work.
Yeah, so we're thinking, essentially, if you want 10 hours a week, you would allocate that portion of your annual budget to that coordinator, whatever that equates to at 52 weeks.
Okay.
And we don't need that, detailed list of tasks to take this to council on the 16th. The staff, Matthew can provide a general overview, I think, of what some of those duties would be, but we'll definitely want to get that finalized, within the very short term after that.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, the one thing I would suggest is if the BIA board is really interested in this position and what's being proposed with this coordinator role, that maybe a motion come forward from the group tonight endorsing this that could go to council, just to show the interest. I've talked to Mr. Armstrong quite a bit about some of this. I can't get too detailed into it because because it is involving the organization overall. That'll be handled in camera on a Tuesday night. But if there's just a general support there, and then we don't need, as Dana mentioned, we don't need all the specifics, but if the board could work on that and just give us an idea of, how many hours might be needed for administration, public outreach, like Karen mentioned, social media, things like that. And I think also, coordinating store openings would be another one, as we do actually. And we've got some good news there with a couple relocations and some openings coming up in the next little bit, based on what we've seen with our CIP applications and the renovations we do see going on down there. H&R Block moving as well. We do have a new business on Water Street too, so that'd be something for the spring. I think the person could help look at as well, so we can make sure we welcome these places properly and when the weather gets a little better. But I would just suggest maybe a motion tonight, if the board's okay with that, just so council will know if the BIA is good with this proposal and the potential of, say 10 hours a week that the BIA would fund for this coordinator admin position.
Okay, so did we come up with that now and streamline the responsibilities, duties after we get past this? If council's on board.
Yeah, you certainly could. We don't need like the full list tonight of that, and obviously it could be a little flexible too. We're not saying Matthew's certainly not asking that we have everything itemized, but just a general idea so we can lay it out, and that it's very task focused, as Dana mentioned. So there's some real intent to it, and the person, just to organize the position properly before, if and when we go ahead with this position as part of the organizational review.
Probably a sound idea. Because then we wouldn't
Yeah, and
be-
like the mayor said, this isn't set in stone. This is more just like the general kind of,
Yeah.
these are the key things the coordinator will be working on, but then you would submit almost like an itemized list on a weekly basis to say Matthew and myself to vet and review with the coordinator, and very flexible.
Yeah, we just want to help out, and I think it's a good proposal overall that helps us with ECDEV, helps us with community outreach with BIA and possibly Chamber as well as we move forward. And we've got a lot to do to recover from COVID, and hopefully this is going to be, as we get further and further into the year, it'll just get better and better, and we want to be in a position to support our businesses. So that's really what it comes down to with the position.
Yeah, I think for the time being, it's just someone to do kind of the stuff that we can't, and hopefully spread our wings. Because I know the topic of expansion, no matter how we do it, keeps coming up, and I don't think any of us on the board really have time to deal with it per se, like talking to businesses and whatnot. So hopefully we can have someone involved with that too. So I like Brett's suggestion.
We'd really love to see them provide, a lot more direct one-on-one business support as well, like, and not counseling per se, but coordinating programs, resources that can be delivered to the businesses, whether it's, webinars to assist with their digital marketing, or introducing businesses to new tools that they can implement, and, really helping with the retention of our existing businesses, as well as, putting the community on the map as being very supportive of its business community, which in turn will really help with our broader attraction efforts.
Alrighty. Everybody else, what do you guys think? Does that sound like a sound?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty. Sweet. Who wants to so how do we want to word that then? We're going to motion to, would it be support a coordinator position, or trying to figure out the word I'm looking for? Oh, I don't know. Sorry, I'm writing at the same time. I'm writing and thinking at the same time.
Would it be?
Pardon?
Would it be for the BIA to partner with town staff to assist with coordinator duties, activities? Does it have to be more specific than that?
Mr. Chair, it can be pretty general, just as council may ask the question if BIA is interested in partnering here, because obviously this would help the town defray some of the costs with BIA contributing to the position. So that's one question I could see being asked. So if we can answer in the affirmative, if BIA is interested in going down this road, that's something really, really basic, is I think all that's needed.
Yeah, so the motion,
something along the lines of like the BIA pass a motion to support the hiring of a part-time coordinator in partnership with the town of Prescott. Just very general.
does that that would probably make a lot more sense. Anybody care to make that motion?
You may want to, sorry, just also note the budget aspect.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say.
Well, I'm assuming
that you're willing, that you're, support the financial contribution from the BIA towards the
Yeah.
position in partnership with the town.
I'm assuming the numbers wouldn't be much different than what they were in the past, at least for at an hourly basis anyways, I would assume, right?
It's I would think it would be very comparable. We're still working those details out, but I think we would be looking for probably a similar contribution from the BIA that we had been discussing as part of the earlier partnership. We'll need to crunch some numbers, of course, but I'm sure the town is open to some flexibility in that regard.
Well, so far I think we have money, so.
So what if we make a motion that the BIA financially support the hiring of a part-time coordinator in partnership with the town?
You said part-time, correct?
Yeah.
Would it be, if it's in partnership with the town, would it still be a part-time thing? Like, is there, I know town has a discussion they'll happen about this, but will it be a part-time position?
Yeah, I think the intent is part-time to the BIA. So
Okay.
maybe, removing that would just clarify it a little bit. It doesn't need to be specified at this point what the nature of that position is.
All right. So we can probably stick with what Karen just said then, and
Just remove the part-time.
Remove the part-time. So the BIA offers to financially support the hiring of a coordinator in partnership with town.
I think that sounds okay.
yeah, I think that sounds good.
Brett, you know better than anyone if that will kind of satisfy.
Yeah, it just needs to be something really basic that the BIA is interested in entertaining this option. I mean, it can be almost anything, just support. I don't think the wording matters. And it does sound, listening to the other members of the board, I think everybody's spoken, but Pearl, I think I'm just double checking Pearl can still speak here because she's just coming up there. So it seems like everybody's in support. So that's all that's really needed, is that the board is actually backing the concept. Specifics, come at a later date, but you guys aren't signing a blank check here, so
Right,
you don't have
yeah.
to worry about that.
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds good. So you got that written down, Karen?
I do.
You care to actually make the motion?
Okay, I'd like to make the motion that the BIA financially support hiring of a coordinator in partnership with town.
Perfect. Alrighty, motion made by Karen. Anybody care to second that?
I'll second it.
And
Pearl.
seconded by Pearl. All in favor? Motion carried. Probably next meeting, we can once we hear from town, we can streamline the responsibility thing a little bit and go from there. Wait,
I'd say, yeah, maybe you want to circulate and get some ideas going through email,
Yeah,
and
I
then
was-
possibly even schedule like a separate meeting of the board to, have a focused discussion specific to that position versus having to go through all of your regular agenda items. You could schedule a special meeting of the board.
yeah,
that
no, I
specifically.
was actually, we're thinking alike. I was
Yeah.
thinking about that because it can take up a little bit of time.
Hmm.
So I'll
Yeah.
I'll figure something out. Yeah, I'll figure something out in the next couple of weeks. My schedule is pretty open these days, so.
Hopefully not coming effective Tuesday.
Well, no, beauty being in the shop full time is sometimes I can actually focus on some of this stuff where I couldn't before because I was working, right? So, but I've been it's been hectic lately the past few weeks because I've just been trying to sell online to stay afloat. So, alrighty, so alrighty. I know on the first agenda that went out, I think we had it down as beautification for the downtown area. Matthew's version, he just kind of broke it up a little bit. So 6.3 is a discussion around the downtown area. We 6.3.1 is the recommended 2021 project is the downtown streetscape plan, which we've discussed on several occasions. And according to this, it's being considered by council already for budget. So Matthew says,
Yeah, so they'll be looking at it as part of this year's budget deliberations. And if approved, we would be moving forward with that project in 2021. This is really just to provide the members with an update and that it is in progress. And if approved, the BIA would be fully engaged as a partner at that point so that you can have be involved in the actual creation of the design and the consultation as well. It's extremely important that we're given it is downtown focus, that we're really satisfying the needs of our business community. So BIA would definitely be a key project partner.
all right. So I noticed he's got here the project prioritization will be on the 16th. And then followed by review and approval in March. And that's through council, right?
Yeah, and then we would actually get into the launch of the project and the detailed planning. This is really just to kind of itemize what the key focuses of the project are for approval and consultant RFP purposes.
Yep, and we've already passed it. We'll be involved on that prior, so all good.
We will keep you posted.
We'll have our people call your people. Next, back to the beautification side of things. Matthew wrote a few things, the initiatives that could occur for this year. As we all know, we did the banners starting last year. We ordered the new furniture, which is going to be put in place in the spring. Switch to sheets. Well, somebody say something, or is that paper?
I think it was paper.
Paper.
Next, the old benches are being worked on to make into planters. We will hear back about what's going on in March with those. As far as hanging baskets, I know this has been a discussion for a while. Town is looking into this, and I'm told they'll report back to us in March. One thing I can tell you from a budget standpoint, my understanding is I believe the cost is $45 a basket. I have done some talking around. I'm not sure. We seem to be on the cheap side of it for some reason. I know I've talked with Brockville and Smith Falls, and depending on how big you want to get, we can be anywhere from $55 to $80, $90 a basket sort of thing, depending on what you want. But I understand that they're looking into this. But from a budget standpoint, obviously looks like we might have to set a little money aside for that, which I don't think is a problem, but we'll talk about that shortly.
Personally, that's what I would recommend. You
yeah,
really want those flowers to be elevated in your downtown core. And I think that's probably why you're getting those higher prices quoted, because the BIAs are spending that bit more to really elevate those flowers.
Well, that's what I'm curious about too, because I know town took over the purchasing of them, and I don't know. Well, I mean, we don't really know what's happened since then. So
there's been no change to the actual contract, the supplier. It's all the same. There's been no change since the town took them over, aside from, I think, the baskets themselves were actually switched out a couple of years ago to a different style of basket, but we're spending the same amount and using the same supplier we always have. So I would, recommend maybe you want to, like I say, look at bumping those up, elevating the amount. If there's other suggestions, the town would be happy to entertain them. We're open to options, certainly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, we can just discuss that as part of the budget side of things. Next is the feedback of painting the light posts or the traffic light posts, which are that grayish silver color versus our nice black
Mhm.
light posts. Apparently we can have them painted, and it's going to be brought to council for approval. So hopefully we can get some nice black looking matchy light posts. That'd be great.
Brett, do you see the need for an actual BIA motion, or do you feel this is just pretty standard?
Yeah, Dana, I would suggest it's not a bad idea for motions, especially like for information for council, because that's always a question if, you know, BIA supports things. So like the downtown streetscape, I mean, there are a number of projects that are up with regards to the waterfront and the downtown core that'll be back on the 16th for project prioritization for capital this year. My two big priorities are the downtown and the waterfront. I made that clear a couple of council meetings ago, and I think I got some nods around the table at that point. I know all of council is very much, wants to do the best they can for the downtown, but any sort of encouragement from the BIA board, would help. Just to give us feedback, and if that's what the BIA wants to see. And I know we have discussed at this group the downtown, the beautification, and of course that streetscape plan. That's something that's come up a number of times to try to just get the downtown looking as good as possible. So any feedback there through the form of some sort of motion just endorsing the idea would be helpful. I would suggest that as long as the board's comfortable with it, of course, but that would be helpful for us for our discussions on Tuesday night. And again, Tuesday night that won't be the absolute final decisions on Tuesday, but that'll kind of inform what happens as we finalize the budget in March.
Okay. As far
So
as
maybe even want to go back to 6-3 and possibly pass a motion of support.
well, we actually did a while back, if I'm correct.
I think, yeah, I know there was
That's
support.
I recall Ben
Okay.
making the motion.
Is it in the last minutes?
No, it would
January?
That's a couple months ago now already.
Okay.
A single motion lumping these things in from tonight's meeting
Okay.
wouldn't hurt, just because it's this is a lot of strategic discussion this evening. So if the board's okay with that, I think Kevin is right. I think the board did approve that streetscaping a number of months ago, but it wouldn't hurt just there's a few questions here, and I think it all could be sort of put into some of the major stuff could be done in a single motion for sure, with what Matthew is put some specific questions here, and I think if we can answer those in as few number of motions as possible, which is always good, what's workable. But I would suggest that it just helps because it's also fresh too. I mean, that was a little while ago, and things could have changed with COVID and lockdown. So I don't think it hurts to emphasize the point with another motion. Again, if the board's comfortable with that.
Yeah, you could just do something generic that the BIA pass a motion to support the proposed downtown area and downtown beautification plan, streetscape and beautification plan.
Okay. All right.
Once we're through this.
Yeah, we'll just get through Matthew's quick little list here, and we'll go backwards. So the polls we're at, that's good. There was a discussion about store entrance planters for store owners to maintain. I know that was just a thought. I don't know what people think about that one. I know I'm probably going to have some regardless, but that's just, I have space, I can do it, but.
Through you, Kevin. Tracy, was it you that brought the idea up of maybe trying to engage businesses downtown to adopt take care of your own front friendly competition almost?
Yeah, we did discuss that, just trying to get businesses to take care and show care
I'm not sure if Brett may know better, because I'm not as familiar as I probably should be with the a few bullets down. It's the review of the bylaw coming up. That's the next bylaw that's apparently quite old, and staff is going to review it. Is it appropriate to have something like that built into a bylaw? Some kind of empowerment to the owner to, or responsibility rather?
Yeah, if I could, I think I can comment on that briefly. There's always legal, you can only go so far with that when it comes to private property. So that's always the property standards is always, a little give and take with that. And I've got to admit, I haven't seen what's being looked at with the drafts. I know we talked about it, Matt and Sean and I, a while back, but that was a little while ago now. So I think it'd be great to get feedback on that from the BIA. I don't think it absolutely has to be done tonight, but I know it has been discussed before to try to, I'll say toughen up, but it's not really the approach we really want to take. But we do want to make sure that people are looking after the storefronts, and we want to avoid the absentee landlord thing, but also recognize financial hardship in that now, because it's been a hell of a last year for everybody. So would definitely, and that's maybe there's probably I would suggest maybe going forward that the board come up with some ideas, and then maybe the chair or a designate could actually meet with town staff and just kind of go over what the BIA might want to see with property standards in regards specifically to the downtown. And they'll be the experts on that, because Sean will have looked at other property standards bylaws and see what we can do. It's always, like I say, it's a balancing act with that stuff. Nobody wants to come down heavy on anyone, but we don't want absentee landlords and issues like that as well, because that's obviously can, it happens in all small downtowns, but we've seen it here. It can become problematic.
Right.
I was thinking maybe,
yeah, that'd be great. Sorry, Tracy.
yeah, no, that's okay. I was thinking more of like some kind of initiative to show some love to your property, something like that, like something not in a bylaw, but just some
Like a
kind
pride
of
in place kind of, yeah.
like just an encouragement, or just something like that in place, like we're showing love to our property by doing X, or like a video, or just something to really engage the downtown businesses.
Well, just on that same point, we talked about it last year, but with COVID and everything, it was really difficult to do at that time. But the old Prescott Proud campaign, and we talked about getting back to what we did initially with that, where it was BIA, council, and the public would bring forward ideas in the late spring, and then we had about a 2-week project where Public Works and some volunteers, but it was kind of a town initiative, more like you tell us what your priorities are. And I asked Matthew last year about getting back to that focus, so we can have that back and forth, and that would tie into something like that, because we could bring the businesses on board as well, and maybe the businesses support to a certain extent, maybe even there's a fund for it, or there's volunteer hours. Maybe it's something similar to what P&G always did with their day of caring, sort of combined with business owners. And I think that's a fantastic idea. And if we did that, I think we used to do it in May, late May. And if everything cooperates, it'd be great to do something like that again this year. So yeah, I'd love to hear ideas on that from the BIA and how we could do exactly what you're saying, Tracy. I think it'd be a great initiative.
So what would, so basically you're encouraging business owners to make their places look good, essentially. Long story short. As far as, because Matthew does have the question, as far as the planter topic goes though, is that something we would like to proceed with, or it sounds like there might be a little bit of question on that right now? Anybody?
On what item, Kevin, is you talking about 6.4.1.3? 6.4.1.6. Yeah. Oh, 6. The entrance planners. I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
get planners. Yeah, he did mention that to me when we talked earlier today, and I don't know if that was that something that was brought forward to the BIA in one of the recent meetings, because it sounds like a great idea if we can encourage that. 'Cause didn't we do that with Donna a number of years ago, where people could buy those extra planners 3 or 4 years ago, and a number of stores bought the extra planners. I think it was done through Donna at Green Things, and I think is that sort of what this is? Some people would like to bring that back.
It was just a suggestion that was brought up last meeting. I don't remember if Pearl brought it up or Tracy. I don't remember who brought it up, but
Flags was another one that came up, which is next. I think, these were just a couple of ideas that came out. I think, was it Tracy also proposed, and I maybe, or Pearl, the lighthouse idea was, a thought of purchasing some lighthouses for the downtown. I think it's just more in general. I'm definitely getting the sense that there's interest in maybe coordinating something more along the lines of that Prescott Proud campaign. And these could all be potentially projects that could fall under that. Personally, I would suggest, maybe having a more in-depth discussion and really getting a sense of, okay, so what specific projects do we want to look at as part of this? And these are all things that would be more coordinated, right? Like the town and the BIA could take more of a coordinating position. For example, if it's planters, then we could source the planters and on behalf of the businesses, and then the business just simply has to buy into it. So it simplifies things for everyone, right? Same with the flags. We'd source them, businesses just buy into it, but it's very much coordinated by us to really make it that much easier for businesses to start taking more pride in place.
Yeah, I just, from the town's perspective, we're happy to help with anything, within reason, of course, because it's all money in the end. But anything that the BIA wants, speaking just for myself and not as council overall, anything we can do with the streetscape to really make the downtown look as good as possible. We do have a lot of investment coming from private. We've got Stefano's building that's moving along very quickly now. They'll be into occupancy later this summer, which is fantastic. We've got a couple businesses that have come in. We've got the new Prescott Museum we're putting on the corner, H&R Blocks down there. We've got the work on the new laundromat. There's a lot of good things happening in the downtown core privately. So anything we can do, my perspective, from the town, would beautify, make it attractive, so we reward the people that have been investing in the downtown, and also just keep attracting new people, because we still got a ways to go, obviously. There's still some renovations and there's still some work that needs to be done down there. And we've just got to make the downtown look as attractive as possible for visitors. And I say the waterfront as well. And that's what I've kind of been harping on at council in our budget meetings when we've talked about these projects, because to me, those are the two big optional priorities that we should be looking at. So anything the BIA wants to do, Matt put these ideas down because they've come up in the past, but it's worth more discussion, but it all does tie into the streetscaping. So you really don't have to, say, hey, we want to do X, Y, and Z tonight. But I think at some point there just needs to be a list, and then that can be developed with the town, whether the chair of the board meets with Dana and Matt and goes over how things can be implemented. And then, of course, if the coordinator position comes in, that could be one of that person's top priorities to implement what the board wants. So I think it's all great stuff. Doesn't have to be like formal decisions on everything tonight, but these are just the items that did come up at the BIA before. And that's not to say there aren't other options as well. So we're really just, I think we all want to do the best for the downtown, and any feedback we can get, especially for the streetscaping, all this will hopefully tie into it. So, it's all positive and all good. So whatever you guys want us to do, please let us know, and we'll definitely look at it from town hall's perspective.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. So obviously, the answers to the questions that he's obviously they're yeses. It was just a matter of how we proceed after this and what we want to do. And the flags is a good idea, something we touched on last year and unfortunately didn't get a handle on. But yeah, I think, as Brett said with the streetscape thing, we can cover a lot in that. So sweet. Alrighty. Another thing that Matthew has down here is focus by town on keeping King Street clean and weed free. I just thought of a joke with that one, but I'm not going to do that. Sorry.
That's just more of an update to say that we are making it a key priority for this year.
Next is obviously what we just mentioned was the bylaw up for review and revamping is the property standards. I don't. We'd love to see that updated. I think enforced more than updated, but I think we definitely want to see that updated.
Well, and not to jump in, but that's one of the biggest issues, Kevin, is it is so limited right now. It just does not encompass some of those things that we're seeing with property standards, and if there's no regulation to address it. So I think that's why it's of critical importance to get this updated and make sure that we're really, that it does have some teeth to it so that we can implement those standards when required, but that it's brought up to today's standards and it really addresses some of those issues that it hasn't in the past. And this is a great opportunity to get feedback from BIA because you guys are down there every day and see what some of those key issues are.
Yeah, which is followed up by the next point is possible specified areas to address building exteriors, which obviously goes back into the property standards.
Mm-hmm.
As I was doing this and reading this, I almost wondered if we should have a separate motion just addressing that topic. We obviously support revamping that, and I don't know. I'm assuming we would probably like to provide input. I don't know what the town stance is on when is that being done?
Mr. Chair, I think I did just mention that a little bit earlier when Teresa asked about it. And any feedback the BIA would like to put forward with that, I would suggest that the chair or a designate maybe talk to directly to Sean and Matt and Dana, of course, as well, whomever's involved in that, the town side. And I know Sean will be kind of leading the way with that on the property standards bylaw, but any feedback at all, and also specified areas if there's anything the BIA as a board thinks is a particular problem in the downtown. Like we do have a property standards bylaw now. It definitely does need to be updated. Dana is dead on with adding some teeth to it and whatever, but there's a balance for this stuff as well, and it's definitely going to be something the town would want to really work with BIA on this, because the people that are going to be the ones, there's no good way to say this, targeted under that sort of bylaw on absentee landlords and so forth, they're going to be right in the downtown. They're BIA members. So, I mean, we need everybody all together here, and we don't want to punish anyone because of the financial circumstances right now. But at the same time, we want to avoid absentee landlord problems, storefronts that have been left empty too long, old signage, things like that. You can even get down to things like weeds growing outside properties, because that's honestly not something. I mean, I don't mind town staff looking after things like that on occasion, but when you go, and I'm not going to specify addresses, but we can all think of a couple where the weeds are growing at the cracks of the buildings 3 feet high in the summertime, and that's really something an owner should be taking pride of ownership and cleaning out. So that ties back into what Tracy's saying as well about let's encourage that pride. And we can do it through a bylaw, but I think we need to do it first and foremost with trying to bring people on board, and carrot, and then maybe the stick if absolutely necessary. But I think there's got to be a unified message from BIA and the town on it. And I just suggest that the chair or a designate talk directly and see what Sean is planning, and any feedback into the downtown portion of that. Please, we're more than happy to hear it, and whatever we can do to work with the BIA on that bylaw is definitely be well received by council, I believe. I don't know, Teresa, we've talked about it a few times. It comes up every so often, but I don't want to. Teresa may have an extra comment on that from council's perspective too.
No, I certainly agree with you, Mayor Todd, that it is so easy sometimes to push it onto operational staff. And really, right from wrong, it shouldn't be the town, the government's job, right? So partnership has to be the key and the key term, you know, because it has to be exactly that, a partnership.
So do we want any motion applying just to that specific topic, or can we get away with grouping it into the rest of our topics?
Mr. Chair, you could actually appoint the designate to from the group, whether it's yourself as chair or someone else, to begin that dialogue with Mr. Merriman and Mr. Armstrong with the town. That would just formalize it a bit and track it in the minutes. If the board wants to go that route, as you suggested a moment ago, so that would start the process and make sure the BIA has input into those changes. I'm not sure where it is in terms of when it's coming back to council, to be honest. I know it's relatively soon, but we've still got budget to finalize. So I'm going to guess I actually shouldn't even guess, because for all I know, it's the start of March, but I would guess it's after budget. So I would sort of say maybe April in that area. But I would, if you want to go down that road, as you mentioned, I would suggest a motion just designating someone and beginning the process. So BIA has input.
That can be done. Who wants to designate? Oh, don't all jump at once. I personally don't have any issue with it. I've been talking with Sean a lot lately anyway, so if that's something everybody thinks is a worthwhile way to go about it.
And Kevin's really just the messenger. You guys still have to do all the work and actually identify what you want to see.
We can identify that kind of stuff through email. That's easy to do. But
Yeah.
I'm sure we all have a million things that we could come up with. But if that's what you guys think might be a good idea, get some communication going, then we could go that way. If someone would like to make a motion, if we think that's a good idea. Anybody? It's hard not seeing Earl. I see your name.
I'm still here. I can hear everything.
That's good. Just remember, nobody's saying anything bad about her. She's listening.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel that's a worthwhile venture, everybody? Yes, I think we're agreeing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically a motion that myself will discuss with Sean and Matthew in regards to the revamping of the property standards and addressing some specific areas that could be addressed. Does that sound all right in a confusing way?
Sounds good.
All right. Who cares to make the motion? Can't be nobody. It doesn't work.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Oh, okay.
To communicate with Sean Merriman, Matthew Armstrong. So make a motion to appoint the chair, Kevin Bunce, to communicate with Sean Merriman and Matthew Armstrong in regards to revamping the property standards and concerns for the downtown property standards.
That sounds all right. Sounds all right to me. Alrighty, motion is made by Karen. Anybody care to second that?
I will.
Oh, Pearl will second it. All in favor? Motion is carried. So that ends that, but if, as Brett's mentioned, previously of just about, making another motion,
Yeah.
in support of the, basically, streetscape plan and the beautification of downtown. I think that's probably the simple.
So I would pass a motion that the BIA support the streetscape and beautification plan.
Yeah, that's plain and simple. I like that one. Alrighty, motion is made by Karen. Anybody care to second? Second by Tracy. All in favor? Motion is carried. Next, we're going to move on to the fun topic of the budget, because that's something we need to do. And obviously, we're at the same 29,900, I assume, to start. Well, I guess minus,
The
yeah,
38.
minus the BIA membership, right?
Mhm.
I just mathed quickly. If you're looking at 10 hours a week for a coordinator, you're looking at, for the year, about 10,400. If that's my math. I math quickly. It's unusual.
And we probably won't need 10 hours every week either, right?
Well, no, it could probably jump around.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, you might be a couple hours one, you might be no hours one week and more the next, who knows? And it depends on
Yeah.
where we go too. I think we still don't know much about what's going to happen with COVID. So I still think the whole year is going to be a little wonky, but like as far as events go and stuff, I know we talked about that last time, not really focusing on events as much as promotions. So we'll probably focus more funds that way. And obviously some funds into the beautification thing. So that's kind of a hard one to figure out. But I mean, we definitely know 10,400 for a start. As for the rest, I think I wish I don't have the sheets in front of me for the actual budget breakdowns, but do you have one in front of you, Tracy?
Like the topics, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so like we have leadership and management. So that would, your coordinator would fit into that. We have the marketing and promotions. So that would be, your advertising, events. We have the physical improvements and then the economic development.
Just doing a quick. Alrighty. So we'll base the budget, at least as far as the leadership side of things go. Do we add a little extra just in case? Give or take-ish? I don't know what our person would require as far as any business supplies or stuff like that, but
So without presupposing, I would anticipate the town would cover their general day-to-day supplies. If there's additional things above and beyond that the BIA needs for special projects, initiatives, that's the portion that would fall on you. But you wouldn't have to worry about the general admin expenses, the phone for that individual, general supplies, laptop, other IT requirements.
mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that that would all be covered more from the town, and we would really want the BIA support to be for the work that the coordinator is doing.
And just for some clarity on this, and I can't discuss the details because that obviously still has to go through council, and that will be a discussion regarding the overall organization, but this would be a town employee. This would be a town position. So Dana's absolutely right on that. It wouldn't be a BIA employee per se. It would be run through the town with a portion of this person's duties for the town being to help coordinate with the BIA. So in a lot of ways, it's probably the best possible situation forward for the BIA because it provides flexibility with the budget. It gives the BIA control over how many hours, what the tasks are, and so forth. And at the end of the day, the management of the employee would be through Dana and Matt. So it's actually, I think it's a really good solution overall, but I don't want to presuppose anything because the full discussion has not gone to council yet, and that will come back after Tuesday night. But tonight was really just to see if is there a general thumbs up from the BIA to be interested in this, and then we'll bring back specifics if and when council approves what we'll be looking at that evening.
Okay.
So we don't have to really get into a lot of the big specifics here, but again, rest assured you're not signing any blank checks, and we're going to be as the BIA budget as possible because we know it's limited.
So the number, like I know what I'm only basing our portion of a salary based on the past. So I'm just kind of spitballing a little bit. So obviously we'll have to wait until you guys give us more detail then.
Yeah, like Brett's saying, I don't think I'd spend a whole lot of time on that. Maybe skip over that and focus on some of the other key budget areas tonight if you wanted to start having that discussion.
Yeah, for sure.
Or do it as part of your broader discussion. You're kind of planning annual brainstorming meeting, whatever you want to call it. I think it would definitely be critical for you guys to get together for a separate meeting. A little bit longer to really, do some critical kind of brainstorming and identifying what those key budget expenditures should be to support the projects that you want to move forward with.
Just for Tracy, I got sidetracked. Can you rattle off the 4 categories again on the budget?
So marketing and promotions.
Yeah.
Economic development. And physical improvements.
All right. So we can just jot some ideas just for the time being quickly. But marketing and promotion. I know Dana, you guys have the shop local billboards, the 2 of them, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. And we're really going to be rolling out a lot more of that shop local, doing some different materials, promotional materials that we're in the process of producing right now. We're going to be doing some shop local bags for the businesses and giveaways. So that will all be provided as well, like to the BIA.
Plans to change the boards, I'm assuming?
I think they'll go back to the COVID. I believe they'll go back to that on a temporary basis. But if you're thinking ideas long-term, I can only assume the town might be open to something if there's an idea.
Well, I've noticed a lot in, especially heading to Brockville with their shop local posters that they have up. Most of them, I think there's almost one in every way coming into town, and I think they have some. I know they definitely have some around Blockhouse last time I checked. And what did those cost? I forget. Does anybody remember?
So they were $300, and the BIA provided. You covered the full cost of one of them.
We covered the full cost.
Yeah. And we could easily switch those out. We wouldn't have to get new boards. We could just simply cover up the holiday messaging, I believe. Like you can do overlays for them.
Mhm.
So I think we could easily just modify them a little bit if there's support from the BIA to retain those versus going back to the COVID ones, which I would definitely support.
Well, I was thinking something. This is only my thinking, and anyone else can jump in on this one. I was just kind of thinking something with a little more. What's the word I'm looking for? Flair's not really the word, but something, something with a nice picture on it instead of something so. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but.
So something that stands out more, Kevin? So what you're thinking, like something that's more,
Well, yeah, I mean, like using some of the pictures we might have of downtown on a billboard with shop local sort of stuff. I don't know. Especially coming in and out of town. That's just my thinking. But
So those are, just to caution, like, I think we're talking about very different things. We're actually producing some new gateway signs to replace those ones that are currently coming into town and on the 401 to create more of a tourism kind of visitor attraction, shop local sign. But I don't know if the intent is for that to be a permanent sign at the clock tower. But I feel like you're kind of thinking more along the lines of a permanent sign option.
not necessarily. No, it doesn't have to be permanent. But I don't know.
We're definitely open to a change if you wanted to look at.
That was the only thing I was thinking, is something just a little different. Well, I don't know. We obviously don't know what summer is going to bring either. So it'd be nice that we didn't have any restrictions whatsoever. I don't think we'll be that lucky, but well, I know it was just something to get people's attention and try and drag people in the shop. I don't know, just an eye catcher. It doesn't have to be a permanent thing by any means, but it's only a thought.
Well, we're open. If you've got a specific idea, throw it at us.
It's not specific by any means. It was just something like the same size of what there is, just something, more of the just shopping local sort of thing, and change it out. Obviously, we're not going to have winter ones up all the time, but something to just change out the season. But that's all I got. I don't know the kind of cost of that, but
A total redesign would be $300 a piece.
guessing.
If you just want to kind of modify what's there, we could do it for a very nominal price. But if you're not a fan of the streetscape, we could look at like a photo collage. But I can tell you that streetscape is definitely going to be used with the shop local and the QR. That's going to be a critical graphic for the economic development department moving forward. And we will be using that throughout a lot of our promotions and permanent signage as well.
Yeah, that's why I'm not really necessarily looking at something that's permanent. You could even use that logo on part of one or something, you know what I mean? But or something
Maybe
that has
some
that
flashy pictures in the background or something.
Well, or something half and half, like with the streetscape and then beside it a picture of something, lighthouse or something. I don't know, whatever. I'm just spitballing again, but
We can play around with some designs.
anyways, that was just
Maybe have a couple options for you to look at. I'll try and get some options.
That was just a thought as far as marketing goes. I'm just kind of jotting numbers down. And again, the physical stuff, we probably won't really know a lot until you guys talk streetscape. Making it really hard to budget stuff. You're almost better. Tracy?
Oh, I was just gonna say, so last year we spent, about $17,000 on physical improvements. And yes, I think we definitely still need a budget for those. But I think too, the businesses are gonna really need some support. So, maybe really targeting the marketing and promotions, and coming up with some, like even events don't even necessarily have to be in person. They could be virtual events too, right? And so I just think it's important that we put definitely money aside for the marketing. I even saw one place they did work here, shop here. So they actually gave discounts to the people that actually work in the downtown so that they would shop in the downtown too. So there's all kinds of things that we could think about doing and definitely set aside, earmark some money for that this year around. Because we did spend so much last year on the physical part. That's just food for thought.
And
Yeah,
just to chime in, we do have the Prescott Proud Dollars, and they are always available to support any initiatives that you want to plan, like the whole work here, shop here. Yeah, they could get a reward of Prescott dollars for shopping locally, and we would be more than happy to support that through the town, within reason, obviously, but we want to get the dollars out there, right? And those dollars can only be spent within Prescott. So just always remember that's a tool available. It's at your disposal as you're planning promotions and ideas.
I'm hoping to go crazy giving those things away next week. I got an envelope of them I haven't even been able to use yet. So, Tracy's right. I mean, we spent a lot of money on the physical stuff. I can't imagine we would spend that kind of money this year on that kind of stuff. And I agree.
Now that's something you may want to allocate a little bit to the flowers.
Well, yeah, we would
Maybe
have
that's
something,
but getting into more benches, it's kind of, you should be pretty much established for what you need for a while.
All right, we didn't have to come up with anything solid tonight. It's just we got some ideas jotted down. Yeah, because I mean, other than like you said, the flowers or whatever the difference of the cost is, I don't think it'd be much of a problem for us to cover the difference if we want something bigger. So,
If you decide you want to do the flags or the planters, those little things, but it doesn't need to be furnishings per se.
Yeah, I think the flags is a great idea personally. So, I inherited a flagpole, so I actually fixed that thing so the flag flies properly. I went out and bought new clips for it.
I didn't know it was dysfunctional.
Half the time it was half the way down, or it was wrapped around the pole, or it was all bunched up, so it wouldn't fly properly.
You need an anti-furler for your flag.
I have one for my antique flag. That's pretty neat. I don't know. Is there anything anybody wants to add to the budget topic for tonight? Obviously, we'll have to probably shore this up by next meeting because we're being to March by then, and I know we probably should somehow do an AGM very soon too. So I don't know how to do that online yet. I have not been to one or know how that gets set up. So we'll deal with that when we get there.
And we're here to assist.
Yeah, how's it work? Does everybody actually go online, pay attention, or how's that work?
I know the chamber is looking at a virtual AGM this year, South Grenville Chamber. So you could always also pick their brain too.
Yeah, not a bad idea. I know somebody.
But we can definitely assist with that and provide you with a town Zoom account as the hosting platform.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that probably next meeting, get that dealt with. Anybody else got anything on the budget?
Kevin, did you want to maybe set up a special meeting to go over budget?
We could. I'm not against that.
Especially after the 16th when we know more too, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing. You're just waiting for that information. Go from there. Yeah. Will we be able to get that information prior to the next meeting so we can plan another meeting?
Yeah, we'll definitely have an update for you. And just a suggestion, you may want to involve your new members in this session as well.
Yeah, that should be for approval on the 16th anyway, so we should be able to.
You could even-
They're already IDing me in the head, so I'm getting ideas from new people, which is good.
You could maybe just pass a motion to actually hold that meeting with a date to be determined
Yeah.
upon further consultation. But I think if you at least have it in your
Yeah.
minutes that you are going to schedule that meeting for the month of February, date to be determined.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah, so we'll, yeah, if we can make a motion to hold another meeting between now and our next scheduled meeting to discuss budget. Do we want to discuss any of our other things while we're there? Well, it'll probably get involved with that, I guess, a little bit. So yeah, it all kind of get tied into one.
Yeah, you can't discuss budget without the projects.
Yeah, so that'll help. All right. So if anybody cares to make the motion about having another meeting between now and our next scheduled meeting,
I'll make the motion that we schedule a meeting to discuss the budget and projects between now and the next scheduled meeting.
all right, motion made by Karen. Anybody care to second? Second by Tracy. All in favor? Motion carried. I will come up with the date very quickly. I'll go through my stuff. So yeah, that ties that up. Number 7, financial report.
So to date, we have just spent $238 for our OBIAA membership, and that's it. Reserves were just shy of 40,000. 39, I have the exact number written down, $39,642 in reserve.
Did I just realized it. What did we do with our balance from last year? Did we move it into reserve yet, or?
I asked Matthew and we didn't have to make a motion. It just automatically will go
Oh,
there.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I remember that now. All right. That is correct. All right. Great. Next, number 8, staff. Anybody got anything that we don't know about yet?
Maybe just a quick update on the digital Main Street program. So it's going really well. Nothing but positive news to report. I am pleased to report that the actual program has been extended for businesses. They've been given an extension for their DTG funding, which is great news. And all of the municipalities have also been received an opportunity to extend our digital Main Street program until the end of March 31st. So that's really to capture any municipalities that haven't spent the full funds. The OBIA, the last thing they want to do is claw money back. So they're giving everyone an additional 4 weeks to spend those dollars. We're not anticipating any concerns with having those dollars spent by February 26th. They may be a little bit carried over into the first week of March, but it also extends our final report submission to March 31st. So we did take advantage of that extension opportunity. And we've also applied to the CFDC for a new funding program that would provide the town with the funds to keep the coordinator position, Justin, on until March 31st as well. So that would align just perfectly with the extension that we're seeing with the digital Main Street. And so we'll have a formal update going to council this Tuesday, and then I'll send an informal update to the BIA members following that, with hopefully some positive news all around.
Nice.
That's good.
I almost have a website.
Great.
Done. I have to do some training on it apparently, but yeah. It's just done. Next, I guess that's it for staff.
Yep,
apparently?
sorry, that's it.
No.
It for my.
Next, number 9, new business. Any new business? No. Okay.
Just for housekeeping, that may be where you want to put that other motion, just to have that separate planning meeting. Just to stick it in there when you're doing your minutes.
Okay, perfect.
Is that the motion we already made?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because it covered budget and the 2 agenda items before that too, so you may just want to have it as its own under new business.
New business. All right, with that being said, I guess that's all we got then. I like it. That being said, if everybody would like to go home or go eat, if we want to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting, anybody care to make the motion?
Archie's, ma-
Tracy?
Archie has it.
Archie's got it.
Alrighty, second by,
Wow, was he ever getting big?
He's twice the size.
Yeah,
Twice.
he's growing fast. Wow.
So much for him being a mini.
all in favor? And all in favor of watching the puppy?
Yep.
Motion is carried. All right, folks. Thank you very much. I'll get
Have
you
a good evening.
shortly.
Hey.